Let's now cross live to the federal capital in Abuja, where Nigeria's central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele, is set to flag off the 100 for 100 policy on production and productivity at CBN main auditorium.
Came through to the CBN for the banks, valued at 121.87 billion naira. It means the applications that we received went through some very strenuous process of screening to ensure that they meet our requirements. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, following due screening of the applications received, I'm pleased to inform you that, unfortunately, only 28 companies with projects that have clearly articulated proposals were selected for funding. These projects, valued at 23.20 billion naira, comprise 14 in the manufacturing sector, 12 in the agricultural sector, and 2 in the health sector. When fully operational, these projects are expected to create over 20,000 direct and indirect jobs across multiple sectors of our economy, as well as generate close to $125.8 million in foreign exchange earnings. It is important to note that 5 of the selected projects are greenfield projects seeking to exploit the huge opportunities in key sectors of our economy. Let me say that you could see I use the word unfortunately, only about 28 companies came through CBN's process. We'll go back and review the list of those who may have issues that we would like to deal with and see how more and more companies qualify for this. Because this is a noble idea that is meant to stimulate manufacturing output in Nigeria, create jobs for our people, reduce over-reliance on imports, and effectively grow our economy. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me at this juncture to mention other intervention programs and schemes of the CBN targeted at catalyzing production and productivity in the real sector of our economy. These interventions include the 1 trillion naira real sector facility, Anchor Borers program, the commercial agricultural credit CACs, non-oil export stimulation facility, and textile sector intervention facility. We are engaging and we will also be discussing extensively with the banks, particularly on the non-oil export stimulation facility in the coming days. Because we feel that at this stage, while we are pursuing a program of import substitution, we should also seek to think of the best ways to diversify our foreign exchange earning space in the country. And we think that Nigeria, with all the opportunities and potentials, that there is a need for us to look into export stimulation again in Nigeria. There are so many products in Nigeria, and I mean finished products, that end up in different markets in different parts of the world. But unfortunately, we find that those companies that produce those goods here in Nigeria do not earn the foreign exchange for those items that get exported out of the country. Again, I'd like to use the word, we suspect that they may have been illegally exported, and that's why those companies are not getting the FX revenues. We will be engaging the banks at the next Bankers Committee to see to how we will make sure that all export transactions are properly recorded and that proceeds coming to help to boost even our export earnings and support local production. Our plan is also to see to it that those who truly conduct export activities particularly where there has been value addition into the economy, not just export of raw produce, but exports of processed and refined goods effectively, that we, Central Bank of Nigeria, will take on the responsibility to make sure that we engage the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment to ensure that what is due them to their non-export development credit grants that they normally receive, that they receive those. We will also be talking to the banks to see to it that whatever is offered by way of export credit to those companies that qualify that bring in the export proceeds and they qualify for the loans, that those loans will indeed also go to those companies at more discretionarily low interest rates, so as to bring down their cost of export and effectively encourage them to conduct an export activity where we will generate export earnings that we badly need in our country today. Specifically, and coming back to this program, these programs, whether it is CACs, whether it is real sector or export stimulation, and schemes have continued to receive substanding commendation, as they have proven to be effective in expanding credit and stimulating investments in the real sector of our country. For instance, under the 1 trillion naira real sector facility, the bank has released a total of 1.4 trillion naira to 331 real sector projects in agriculture, manufacturing, mining and services sector. Under the real sector support facility, the CBN has disbursed 166.21 billion naira to 25 projects. In the agricultural sector, the Anchor Borrowers program we have disbursed 927 billion to over 4.5 million smallholder farmers for the cultivation of 21 commodities across the country. Also, the bank has financed 666 large-scale agricultural projects with the potential of creating an estimated 107,000 direct and indirect jobs under the Commercial Agricultural Credit Scheme. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, with the significant opportunities in the real sector, there remains sufficient room for additional investments in various subsectors, and we would like to urge potential investors to take advantage of the various CBN intervention programs and schemes, as well as other financing options out there, to invest in key sectors of our economy, given the potential gains that could be generated from them. Let me assure all current and prospective operators in the industrial sector that the Central Bank of Nigeria stands ready to continue to provide the needed support, financial and otherwise, to fast-track the development of our industrial sector. For those seeking to invest in new greenfield or existing brownfield projects, the CBN will continue to provide all the needed support, both in naira and dollars, specifically for the importation of plants and equipment to actualize these investments. It is pertinent to point out that the foreign exchange support will be solely for the importation of spares, plants, and equipment needed to increase production capacities of these companies. Let me emphasize that our mission through this initiative is to ensure that priority is accorded to companies who display verifiable progress in our import substitution and job creation drive. Consequently, we will soon unveil a new foreign exchange bidding regime that is market-driven and supports companies that accord utmost priority for our local production and job creation initiative in Nigeria. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, checks will also be presented to the 7 participating financial institutions whose customers have been selected as pioneer beneficiaries under the PPP first cycle. These beneficiaries are among the many who have submitted their notifications on the dedicated portal and their applications received from their banks. I'd like to urge the beneficiaries to judiciously use the funds for the purpose for which they have indicated in the applications, as our independent monitors and evaluators will be engaged to regularly follow up on the progress of the project, with particular focus on the socio-economic impact of the finance projects on their immediate community and the economy in general. Your Excellencies, before I conclude my remarks, permit me to seize this opportunity to announce that the next cycle for submission of applications for the 100 policy for production and productivity starts immediately after this event today, effectively February 1, 2022, and will be ending April 30th, 2022. I want to appeal to all prospective investors to take advantage of the huge opportunities provided for investment in the real sector under the PPP and approach their banks to submit their applications for participation under the initiative. We will also make the portal available in case you have any complaints complaints about the way your applications have been treated, you are not satisfied with the way your applications have been treated. We will also like to receive your views through our portal, because our intention is to ensure that we address all the complaints, all genuine complaints, because we want to make sure that this program succeeds, knowing fully well that it is for the betterment, not just of our economy, but also for the employment because of the employment generating capacity that we intend to unleash on our country for the future. In closing, let me thank the Secretary of Government of the Federation, His Excellency Mr. Boss Mustafa, duly represented with the PAMSEC, the Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otubani Adebayo, for all his support up till this time, and the Honorable Minister for Labor and Employment, His Excellency Dr. Chris Ngige, for their support to the Central Bank of Nigeria and its various interventions targeted at creating enabling investment ecosystem in Nigeria. Thank you, sir. I also like to commend the managing directors of all our banks for their partnership in the successful implementation of our interventions as they continue to be the channel for the delivery of our mandates. My appreciation also goes to the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, whose support is critical to the successful development and implementation of the 100 for 100 policy for production and productivity. Engineer Musa, we thank you very much for coming. We appreciate you. Please pass on this message to members of your association that we truly mean to be of assistance, not just for their own benefit alone, but also for the benefit of our country. Last, and certainly not the least, I'd like to congratulate the beneficiaries and participating financial institutions for the efforts in aiding our efforts to enable greater growth of the Nigerian economy. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Governor. I'd like to request, please, another round of applause for the Governor. I'll tell you why. Now we gave him the natural applause in response to his declaring the seat open in his presentation. But for anybody who has listened to Governor Godwin Emefiele in all the years he's been governor, there is a central theme that defines his public address. You could say, dripping with patriotic fervor. I lost count of the number of times we make reference to our country, jobs for our people, consistently. Not today, not yesterday, this has been the whole. Governor, thank you very much for being a very passionate son. Whilst you were speaking, His Excellency distinguished Senator Dr. Chris Nwagweze, the Honourable Minister of Labour and Employment, made his way into the Honourable Minister. I would like to convey an appreciation for everybody in this hall that you're able to join us. Welcome. Thank you. And before the MD, MDIC, rightly say a son of the building, Mr. Hassan Bello, also were there, did not see you there. Thank you very much. Your presence is very in case you just joined us at the commencement of the program, I said the governor had been clear at the beginning of his stewardship that his was going to be a mandate that would create a central bank that will serve the people. Indeed, today's program is yet another demonstration that the CBN under Godwin Emefiele has continued to create a enabling environment with appropriate incentives to empower innovative entrepreneurs to drive growth and development. They call it pragmatism, and that's why at some point publication named him the pragmatic governor. Once again, a round of applause as we move on. Next, I'm going to invite for his comments. The governor had alluded to the support he had given to the bank and the country by extension. Honourable Minister, Your Excellency, sir, your Goodwill message.
Yeah. Can you transfer this? Hold on. Please sit down here. Come, listen. Sit down here. Keep moving. Thank you, Governor. Go ahead. Yeah, thank you. I'll only take the seat for 5 minutes only. I don't want to be too rich, so this seat is for governor of money, not political governor like we have been. Thank you. Your Excellency, the governor and representative of the Secretary of Government of the Federation, representative of Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Deputy Governors of the Bank, and directors, staff members, recipients of today's checks for the 100 for 100 policy for production and productivity. Your Excellencies, good afternoon to all of you. It's with great pleasure that I deliver this Goodwill message. I was just informed last week, towards I think about middle of last week, but I jumped at it because this program is a program we'll be looking forward to. This occasion is part of your bank's sustained commitment to spearheading initiatives to spur productivity and oil the ways of economic progress in our country, Nigeria. Productivity, as you all know, forms the basis for everything we're doing. Anything we're doing is we're laboring, we're doing work. And if you're doing work and there's no productivity there, you might as well forget it. So for you to go to all the sectors, pick people, agriculture, health, real sectors, manufacturing, logistics services, means that you people have also keyed into the fact that we must try to produce. We must try to be productive. And unless we get to be productive in Nigeria, all the things we are saying will come to nothing. And I'm happy that the CBN governor has, in all the things he's doing, if you look at all the programs and all the innovations, you will always see agriculture. Agriculture is a low-hanging fruit. And it's in agriculture that you have reproduction. It's in agriculture that everybody that is involved in agriculture must exhibit productivity. If you don't, then you harvest nothing. So that is the productivity at work. I use it to give the simple idea of productivity. People in banking, they must be productive too. People in catering and others, if you don't show productivity, you lag behind. So, Mr. Governor, we thank you for what you're doing, because this is aligned with the federal government priorities on job creation and lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. It's a program initiated and being driven by Mr. President, and all of us have keyed into it. And given the challenges of our high unemployment rate in Nigeria, which rose from 6.4% about 10 years ago to now an all-time high of 33% in 2020 estimate, and 2021 is up to 43 if you combine it. So we have no choice than to embrace productivity stimulating programs. Our youth population is also budging, and is the young ones, the young population. If we don't use it to an advantage, it becomes a disadvantage. And we can all see today that it is not to our advantage, especially the galloping population growing rate. It outstrips our GDP growth rate, and so we have problem. The youths from age 18 to age 35, 40, we have seen the challenges. Boko Haram, we have seen it. We have also seen IPOP, unemployment. We have also seen Avengers. We have seen Oduduwa Nation agitators. They are not gainfully busy, these young people. So we're all sitting on a keg of gunpowder. So we thank the governor for some of these programs, Anchor Bora program in particular, which is feeding the nation, and the 1 trillion and the rest of them all. Because our nation today, whether we like it or not, we have not adequately diversified. Mono economy, we're still not talking about petroleum. What is petrol doing? And for a mono economy, with an over-reliance on dwindling oil revenues and heavy imports, we have to change the narrative. And you agree with me that there exists a significant opportunity in Nigeria's rich sector, which calls for sustained collaboration between the monetary and fiscal authorities, as well as broader private sector players to create employment opportunities and help us address some of these social delinquency problems. I watch some people say, oh, Governor of Central Bank is doing work of agriculture minister. He is doing work of this, he is doing that of that. And they say, oh, he should confine himself to monetary and not fiscal. I say, well, monetary and fiscal are like twins. If you don't feed, if you feed one only and leave the other will die. And when the other one die, especially the Siamese, you can have problems with Siamese twins. So we know that if we don't have a central bank that is playing center forward today and even doing goalkeeping at the same time, this country will die. So I don't know where you will be speaking the grammar of fiscal and monetary when everything has collapsed. Permit me, Your Excellencies, to chide today's pioneer beneficiaries under this 100 for 100 PPP being launched today to take up the challenge immediately, getting to work to actualize the goals of the funds being entrusted to them. I read a document, I don't know, that says that up to February, the interest rate will be 5%, and when you don't move fast and get to March, it will move to 9%, all inclusive. So they have told you everything. You have to take your check and start running and start putting everything. If you take your check and go and put it in fixed deposit, there will be trouble, I can tell you. So finally, Mr. Governor and staff members, I want to congratulate the CBN and the financial sector stakeholders of the country at large for this milestone and this positive step that is aimed at driving for an economic transformation of Nigeria. I wish you well. I wish the recipient well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment, the most loved His Excellency, the Distinguished Senator, Dr. Chris Mwaweze, Onwa Isi.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Governor, distinguished invited guests, moving on. The next we will have a goodwill message of the representative of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, that is the Permanent Secretary, Ecological Project Office, Dr. Halim.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Labour and Employment, the Governor, Central Bank of Nigeria, the Deputy Governors here present, other distinguished and critical stakeholders here present, good afternoon. I bring you greetings from the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. It is a great privilege to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, on this auspicious occasion of the formal launching of the 100 for 100 Policy for Production and Productivity by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The SGF will have gladly been here, but for other official engagements. Over the years, the Central Bank of Nigeria has shown demonstrable ingenuity and capacity in modeling and pushing through pragmatic initiatives that will facilitate the realization of its core mandate of ensuring price and financial system stability and promotion of sustainable economic development policies and strategies. The CBN is again at the threshold of another initiative, the launch of the 100 for 100 Policy for Production and Productivity, which is coming at an opportune time when the nation is exploring means of economic diversification, not only to reverse its overdependence on importation, but more importantly, to galvanize local production of goods and services that will trigger employment generation, wealth creation, and poverty eradication. The broad and specific objectives of the policy are well thought out, and if properly implemented, will achieve its set purpose. I bring you the commendation of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. I therefore am delighted to be at today's event and urge all beneficiaries and other critical stakeholders to maximally utilize this opportunity to ensure a breath of fresh air into our national economy. I congratulate once more the Central Bank Governor and his team, and also Nigerians to key and engage with this process. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. It's now ably representing Mr. Boss Mustafa. Thank you. We're moving on. I will now invite for his comments the President Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Engineer Mansour Ahmed. Engineer, sir.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister, the representative of the Secretary to the Governor of the Federation, the Governor of the Central Bank, the Governor of the People, our Governor. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me stand on the protocol that has already been established. Since his coming into office, President Muhammadu Buhari has made one thing clear, that his desire and his wish and passion is that Nigerians should produce what they consume and consume what they produce. Since he's coming into office, Governor Emefiele has made one thing very clear, that he is committed and determined to actualize the desires of President Muhammadu Buhari. I think these two really have created a sense of dynamic and progressive leadership that if indeed Nigerians accept and follow, will indeed translate to a huge transformation of our economy. Nigerians have been exporting raw materials for the last 200 years or more, from shea nut butter to crude oil, and yet have made very little impact on our economy and on our people. I believe the real reason is simply because we have not adopted, accepted, and implemented this President Muhammadu Buhari's desire. And the one way we should do it, and we must do it, is indeed to do what Governor Emefiele has been trying over the past several years, to encourage Nigerians first to grow their products and to transform those products into the things they consume. And I believe that this particular initiative, like all the previous, assist our economy and our people to do that. So let me, Governor, thank you, particularly on behalf of our members and the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, because what we have been doing over the past several years is indeed to create, motivate us and create the opportunity for us to do what we indeed should be doing all the time. This initiative clearly follows on the previous initiatives that have given opportunities and support for our people to grow and to process and to convert the outputs of these products into the manufactured goods that today we need to consume. It is only when we do that that we should both create the opportunity to meet our own requirements and even leave sufficient for export. And Nigerians have the capability to do it. And Nigeria has the potential to provide all that is needed to facilitate the execution of that capacity, or the use of that capacity. We thank you, Governor Emefiele, for this initiative. We urge that all our members, and indeed all our stakeholders here present, the financial services sector, who are critical to this, will indeed collaborate and cooperate so that we achieve the desired results of this initiative. I believe, looking at this specific 100 for 100, one thing that is very pleasant and pleasing to us is that you are not only encouraging the investments in new capacity, but also in brownfield investment that will expand existing capacity. We believe that this will not only make will not only accelerate the achievement of the objective we are looking, but will also broaden the base of participation in this regard. There are many of our manufacturers, particularly in the small and medium scale sector, that really need this support, not only to expand their operations, but also to increase the quality and the efficiency of their production processes that will make them competitive. And today, business is dependent on the ability to achieve competitiveness. I think this initiative will help us a great deal. The Manufacturers Association is indeed committed to working with you, Governor, and with the bank, and indeed the other financial services stakeholders to make this a success. We thank you, and indeed we accept the challenge to work with you in this regard. We thank you very much.
Thank you, President Insurance Association of Nigeria. We'll speed up and take the last to comment before we go to presentations quickly. And so I'm going to invite on behalf of the financial institutions, the MD CEO of Access Bank, Mr. Howard Wigwe, will make the comments, and then on behalf of the beneficiaries, MD Harvard States. Let's start.
And very, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to stand on the existing protocol. I think the sentiments are clear on behalf of seriously. And the fact that we know that nobody will come to develop our country for us, we owe it a responsibility to ourselves and to future generations of Nigerians and to support economic development. I think Nigeria has, for its own benefit, a very young population. And if we don't take advantage of it and make sure that we have people who are gainfully employed, it can also be a problem for us. But it's a problem that most countries would rather have. One of the things that the COVID-19 pandemic did at its peak was that it proved to us the need for all of us to come together as a country, not just as an industry, to support any efforts that will lead to improved exports, reduced imports, improved employment and all of that. So the 100 for 100 policy, which is one of several initiatives that the central bank has commenced, is one that we stand ready as banks to continue to support, and support with all the resources we have at our disposal. Fortunately, the threshold is such that it's not just for large enterprises. It comes down to medium-scale enterprises. And just as Dr. Ngige said, it's not just for brand new businesses, it also covers brownfield industries as well. Giving the opportunity for companies that seek to expand, whether it's for exports or for production, local production, increase capacity, increase employment, for them to do it. So for us as banks, while the central bank has come up with this initiative, and it's an initiative that we embrace totally, we will on our own seek ways in which we will continue to support all of this, because we will not even exist without our customers and if we have a country that is in turmoil. So again, we just want to thank you all, and thank our government, Godwin Emefiele, and of course the Committee of Deputy Governors, and assure them that we will do all that is humanly possible to support the 100 for 100 policy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. CEO of Access Bank on behalf of the body of banks, as they say. Now we've heard from the banks. Let's quickly hear from the beneficiaries. Speaking on behalf of MD Harvard. Yes, please. You have used the microphone in front of you. Yes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on the existing protocols. Really, on behalf of the beneficiaries, this scheme has helped us a lot to expand our production. For example, in Alex Food and Agro-Processing Limited, the scheme, we actually requested for the service, to buy the machinery that will increase our production by 60%. And we are also going to employ about more than 300 people. So this has made it a breakthrough for us. We are really happy, and on behalf of other beneficiaries here, we are very happy for the scheme, and we hope to take Nigeria production, manufacturing sector, and agri sector further. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the beneficiaries. Yes, Governor.
And thank you very much for that comment. I want to seize this opportunity to appeal to the banks. You've seen that this beneficiary that just spoke is not one of your very large corporates. We're happy and we're delighted that he submitted his application through the portal and that you found his company worthy to receive this loan. My appeal is that because it is probably like either a small business or a medium-scale business, you could see he says he wants to increase the scale of his business by 60%. He will create 300 jobs. As we see opportunities to support this kind of small businesses, these are truly the people who need the support of us, the banks. Now that the naira loan will be given to him, I want to appeal to you, which of the banks where that applied on his behalf, to please give strong positive consideration when he begins to talk about he wants to import the plant and equipment. Please give priority in submitting the request for his plant and equipment to the CBN, so that we can also accord it with the priority it deserves to bring in this plant and equipment. He will work for himself, create jobs for himself, and create jobs for 300 other people. If we support more of this, you can imagine how supporting them will help create jobs, reduce unemployment, and I'm sure he's probably not also operating in Lagos, maybe he's operating outside Lagos. By him improving his business in the area where he is, the state where he is, he's helping to improve the economy of that state. He will ultimately help to improve the revenue generating capacity of that state. And that is how we see prosperity and growth and development in our country. Thank you very much for those kind words, but I want to continue to appeal to you, the bank, to please continue to support us. We thank you. You've been of immense support, but you could see, like the MD of Access said, we have a population of people of age 18 to 35 or 40, constituting close to 60% of our population. He says it is a problem, but he also says it is a good problem. If we can harness the innate energies and strength in these people for the good of our country, Nigeria will just be seeing the skies. So I want to thank you for the comment, MD, CEO of Access Bank, on behalf of the banks. And then, I don't know your name, but we thank you, one of the beneficiaries, for those kind words. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Now we move on to the high point of today's occasion, which is a presentation of the check. Just permit me to quickly remind us once again that today it's another event, the PEP 100 for 100 Commission Production. It's all about boosting production productivity to transform and catalyze the productive base of the economy. We've listened to some speakers and to recalculate first. The Honorable Minister, Dr. Midije, said it is a narrative change. The SGF through Dr. Lawal said it's an innovation that is well thought out. The President man says this is a sense of dynamic and progressive leadership. The bankers say we are ready to continue to support it because it's lovable, and the beneficiaries say we are happy. Secondly, this is a right program. A round of applause for the government. Again, on this note, the High Commission Governor, then I'll move on to the presentation of the check to the PFIs and beneficiaries. I'm told the beneficiaries will receive the check. Symbolic check will be presented to the PFI.
PFI means participating financial institutions, please. They will now cut the checks and give to their beneficiaries.
Okay. Thank you very much, Governor. He has brought it closer. So, Mr. Governor, if you do not mind, I'd like to invite you to step forward. Thank you. You have arranged in the order. So, Receiving on behalf of 3 beneficiaries, may I request the representative of FCMB to please step forward to receive this check. I do not have it here, Dr. Wifi. No. It's okay. Thank you. The 3 beneficiaries for FCMB, Usiko Nigeria Limited, Springfield Agro Limited, and Geocol Farm Limited, together receiving a check there for some 1,110,750,000 naira. Thank you. Governor, the next. It's just for FCMB here, we do not give and receive back again. It is yours to be. Thank you. On behalf of 4 beneficiaries, I'd like to invite Fidelity Bank to please step forward. The 4 beneficiaries are Diamond Super Sats, Secure Healthcare, Goodwill Industries Limited, and Vital Products PLC. Total sum of 5,700,841,000. Next is Keystone Bank, and receiving on behalf of us loan beneficiaries. The single beneficiary for Keystone Bank is Lamb Ranches Limited, and there is a total sum of 998,045,055 naira. Ranch. Lamb Ranches.
This was cattle ranching.
The next beneficiary receiving on behalf of 4 beneficiaries is Stanbic IBTC, Governor. Stanbic IBTC, the 4 beneficiaries that are receiving on behalf Harvest Feed and Agro Processing Limited, Transnational Grain Pastures Limited, Wheat Limited, and Language Shipping Motors. Cumulatively, they are receiving the sum of 3,342,760,000. Union Bank. Union Bank is receiving on behalf of 4 beneficiaries. The 4 beneficiaries are Pali Agro Products Limited, Roto Print Limited, Premier Seed Nigeria Limited, and Jubilee Agrotech. Total sum of 2,386,000,000 naira. And then we have Wema Bank, also a single beneficiary. Wema Bank. Wema Bank's beneficiary is Food Solutions Livestock Limited. They received the sum of 450 million naira. Zenith, representative of Zenith Bank. Zenith Bank has a massive 11 beneficiaries. The 11 beneficiaries are Summit Healthcare, Action Global Arts Limited, Metal World Recycling Limited, and other. Metal World Recycling Limited, Reliance Chemical Products Limited, Sunhat Investments Limited, Terrell Funds Limited, Crutech Consultancy Services Limited, Lofeta Global Merchants Company Limited, Sasoli Industrial Company Limited, Joe F. Nigeria Limited, and Salient Industries Limited. The total sum of 9,214,000,000. And with Zenith Bank, we reached the zenith of the presentation. Thank you very much.
Again, I insisted that the names of the beneficiaries be read because we want Nigerians to know the names of the companies. You will also help us in monitoring them to be sure that this loan is being used for good purpose so we can achieve the objective for which it is made. Only a few of the banks that have benefited from that, and I assure you that I have received commitment from the rest of the banks that as we proceed into the next phase today, that more of the applications will come. As depending on how time permits, we will be doing this every 100 days. If time doesn't permit, we can assure you that we will have a way to make public to Nigerians what is being done. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Governor. For the record, the total sum that has been disbursed today is 23,202,396,055. Thank you very much.